Previously on Rings of Power. Absolutely nothing happened and the dialogue was terrible.
If I won't always be here to speak them to you.
You won't?
Elves dying in the undying lands. Was this guy planning to just ditch his sister? Anyway, the episode starts out with the elf character being captured and is enchained by the orcs. Wait a minute, did I skip an episode? With the amount of filler that they have in the show, why didn't they just film the capture scene? We went from this to this. Are you seriously telling me a massive battle just happened off screen between episodes? Why wouldn't you show us this? Guess the script just needed a way to move forward and they couldn't think of a way that the elves could actually lose considering they've shown us this before.
So long, Bowser!
So here we are now. The orcs are building a trench, and they're getting the elves to pay for it. Jumping over to Galadriel and her new boyfriend, who definitely isn't Aragorn and definitely isn't an evil lord, are on the ship, rescued by the Númenóreans. And the city is pretty sweet, honestly. This is good. I like this part. Huh, why does not Aragorn look so lovingly at this forge?
Speak, elf. All we ask is that Númenor continue his mercy and grant us ship's passage to Middle-earth.
It's been generations since a ship of Númenor was permitted to make such a journey on an elf's behalf.
It is because of the elves that you were given this island. Surely you can spare a few planks and a rudder.
Why is Galadriel acting like this? She's completely insufferable. She's a prisoner here and she has no sword to double jump off. What exactly is she trying to accomplish here? Read the fucking room. Elves are supposed to be old, wise, and graceful, but she's throwing out lines like the worst RPG dialogue wheel option. I'm not even sure why she's even asking for a boat. Wasn't she just planning on swimming back? Over on the sea, a Isildur is now introduced, and that's this guy, if you're wondering who that is.
Cast it into the fire! Destroy it! Isildur!
He has a hot sister, by the way.
Wow, is very nice.
That's probably not that important to the story, but it's the first time the show actually drew my attention to the second screen. Isildur's dad is exposed as an confirmed elf lover.
In the ancient tongue of the Eldar, it can also mean elf friend.
And are you an elf friend?
I'm a loyal servant of Númenor.
And we get a sweet shot of the distance that Galadriel was planning to swim. Back with the orcs, the elves are trying to devise a plan of escape, but oh no, there's a tree in the way. Trees good, orcs bad. And elves like trees, so elves good. Cutting down even a single tree is literally heresy, apart from the fact that elves actually use wood in construction like literally everybody else in Middle-earth. But smart elfman uses this opportunity to get a look at the land before he is forced to chop down his tree girlfriend. Galadriel continues to be insufferable to literally everyone, but she was just lucky to be rescued by the one man in Númenor who has dagger ear fever, and they go out on a ride to the library, and we get this really strange slow motion shot. Not even sure why this is here at all, but I guess at least people will stop asking Galadriel to smile more. Not Aragorn tries to get a job at the forge. Unfortunately, it's a union job, so he goes to grab lunch. Wait, are my eyes deceiving me? Is that a fucking CGI muscle? Did they actually digitally enhance shellfish? Did they just not have any available? Why would you do this? Some grumpy men almost start a fight, but he notices their union badges and decides to buy them all a drink. What a nice bearer of gifts he turns out to be. So friendly, and not at all evil. Oh, and he takes the badge. But Sargon of Akkad notices this and they come to beat him up.
Personally, I find racist jokes funny.
Which is honestly getting off easy, to be honest. He should really be losing his hand here, and the CGI blood looks like total crap. He easily defeats the group of 4 men because they were too stupid to realize that he's actually Sauron in disguise. Oops, I mean he's Halbrand. What am I saying? That would be crazy to think that. He's Halbrand until the twist is revealed. And speaking of twists, it turns out that the Mark of Sauron is actually a map of Mordor.
It is a map of the Southlands. It is as Halbrand said.
What a twist!
Apparently there was a plan B in place if Morgoth ever failed, written in Sauron's diary, I guess, but for some reason nobody ever read this and they just decided to put it in the library where the heroes could find it later. However, all the orcs know exactly what it means because apparently tunneling creatures that rarely travel above ground and melt in the sun are amazing landscape cartographers. Hey, you know who we haven't seen yet this episode? The Half-Foots. This ought to be good. Right in the middle of their Pyramid Head festival, they talk about the one rule for their society. No one goes off trail and nobody walks alone. Unfortunately, Girl Frodo's dad still has a sprained ankle from from the last episode, and is big worried about being abandoned. You see, they are a nomadic race, and they have carts with wheels, but apparently if you don't keep up, you are just shit out of luck. Nobody walks alone, unless you walk a bit too slow. Helping your neighbor in a gathering society? Not bloody likely, Sonny Jim. Jesus, get a load of this society. What happens if someone is pregnant or goes into labor during the migration? Tough luck, I guess. You leave them for the kawaii wolves. And what if, like, some kid's parents dies? Like they actually happen to Girl Sam? And what about babies? Just leave them in the woods? What is the point of being in this tribe? Isn't this exactly the opposite of how tribes work?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
The Halfwoods make a big deal of remembering the people that fall behind and writing their names out in a big book, and everyone chants, "We wait for you," which is exactly what they don't do. If you don't set your time trial on this migration, you're dead, kiddo. Wizardman sneaks into the camp to use the fire to look at the star map. Unfortunately, he learns that he's a Sagittarius and promptly sets his star chart on fire, which actually makes sense because this is the first time in the show that fire has been hot and actually burned something. You know, the one thing that fire is kind of known for. He exposes himself in front of the little people, and he may have to register as an SO, but her family ends up being punished by this by moving their cart to the back, which is apparently a death sentence because the cart at the back almost always fall behind. Wow, glad I live in this wonderful half-foot society instead of the mean world of men they are hiding from, who live in smelly villages and don't throw people to the kawaii wolves if they're too slow. There is also like a subplot about Isildur's sister going to college while he takes a gap year from being a seaman or something, but I wasn't really paying attention here because I'm still stunned by the stupidity of half-foot society. Anyway, Galadriel goes to prison to try and convince not Aragorn, Halbrand, that he's actually the king in disguise. Hey, that's just like Aragorn from the Fellowship. Story writers do good reference, right, me lord? Galadriel thinks that she can convince the Númenóreans into becoming an army for them. Nothing wrong could backfire here, surely not. Back to the Halfwoods, we just see how sadistic they really are by having fatty Girl Sam, who is an orphan, carrying her own cart, and not Frodo's family trying to pull the cart with a broken foot or whatever. But fortunately for them, Wizardman, who Amazon could not legally call Gandalf because they did not own the rights, that is now friends, and he offers to help. Even though this doesn't make any sense whatsoever because the entire tribe of Halfwoods literally think he's an evil human, and this is why they almost got exiled from the tribe in the first place. For the final scene of the episode, the elves are making their escape.
That's gotta hurt! It's gotta hurt!
And challenge the orcs to a squid game for freedom. But Hero Elf literally steps off his homie's chains to double jump to defeat them. Yahoo! The orcs providing them a trampoline to do so was a really bad move on their part, but they are stupid in the lore, so there is that until...
Release the wand!
Look at this dude. No.
This can't be real. I was being so kind about how pretty Numenor looked this episode until they break out this ugly Sonic abomination.
You want me to go fast? That's Sonic's thing. Ugly Sonic goes slow, baby.
This is now the third different image of wargs we have in Lord of the Rings, and even though the original trilogy's ones were pretty badly animated as well, at least they look better than this. Even The Hobbit had better wargs. Just make them look like the Shadow of Mordor Caragals or something. They failed to escape, and the episode's title, Adar, begins slowly walking. Wait, did they say something about Adar being an elven name? Adar almost emerges from the background blur, and we almost can see his elf ears for a second as we cut to black. On a cliffhanger. Could this be Sauron? Nope, it's going to be a red herring. Evil elf or something, but next week this is who they're going to want to make you think is Sauron so they can set up that epic twist. But if Adar isn't Sauron, then who could it be? Wait a minute. We didn't even see Elrond, Celebrimbor, or the best characters, the dwarves, this entire episode. In fact, basically nothing happened in this episode as well. A battle happened off screen apparently, and we now have even more characters. But come on, we are 3 episodes and hours into this already. When is this going to pick up? You realize that after next week's episode, we're going to be halfway through the series, right? And subscribe if you don't want to fall behind and get eaten by the kawaii wolves.